and assessed. Instead of one-size-fits-all approach, the government can deploy more flexible types of grants, including fast-track grants, long-horizon grants, and new mechanisms that allow reviewers to champion radically unconventional proposals. Third, the federal government should set clear scientific goals and build the industrial muscle to translate scientific discovery into technological strength. Government must mobilize the full force of our enterprise around national challenges, clear the ground for American builders, and reunite the work of discovery and manufacturing across the country. Fourth, the federal government must lead the way in preparing America's research enterprise to fully harness the artificial intelligence revolution. A year ago tomorrow, President Trump published America's AI Action Plan, laying out a blueprint for America's dominance in technology that increasingly defines our era. A main motivation in promoting American AI development is a belief that these tools can rapidly accelerate the progress of our scientific enterprise, and so open new frontiers for American knowledge, industry, and quality of life. The Genesis mission is the crown jewel of American AI for science and already well underway. Just this morning, in a convening of science teams across the executive branch, my office affirmed that the Genesis mission will be the central hub for the entire federal government to revolutionize the conduct of American science with AI. Joining DOE's ongoing efforts are initiatives from NSF, DOW, HHS, NASA, USDA, NIST, DHS, and DOT, mobilizing more than $5 billion in total commitments to producing the premier AI for science ecosystem in the world. More than a whole-of-government project, we hope the Genesis mission will grow into a whole-of-nation effort. Driving the partnership of government, academia, and industry, the Genesis mission's grand challenges seek to directly address some of the hardest problems in research priority areas. Moreover, the pursuit of these grand challenges will inspire and test new AI methods and architectures, and so advance the capabilities of American AI itself. Throughout our history, Americans have shown remarkable courage in our willingness to reinvent our institutions when the challenges we faced demanded it. Now it is our time to build a scientific enterprise that will carry America forward and create a new golden age of science for the 21st century and beyond. I thank the chairman and ranking member for hosting today's hearing, and I look forward to answering your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now I'll move into the questions, and the chair recognizes himself for 5 minutes. Director Kratsios, as I mentioned in my opening statement last year, the President charged you with ushering in a golden age of American innovation. And this budget outlines your plan for how NSF, NIST, and OSTP will help achieve that goal. In plain terms, what does this budget deliver for the American people that the last administration's budget did not?
Thank you so much for that question. I'm very excited to look forward to implementing the budget and also the new Golden Age report that was published just yesterday. We have a real unique and special opportunity today to be able to rethink and reimagine the way that our science ecosystem functions and be able to overcome some of the many challenges that we've had over the years. It is true, I believe, that there has been actual scientific and technological stagnation over the past few decades, and that's because our scientific ecosystem has calcified. We've essentially been trying to do the same thing and fund science initiatives in the same way for so many years. And right now, because of AI and so many other opportunities, we have a chance and an opportunity to rethink the way that the government does science, to be able to first and most importantly back young American scientists. Everything that we do as a science ecosystem driven by the government should focus on scientists themselves. And we have lots of different programs and initiatives that are going to be doing that, but we somehow have lost our way, and those are the most important people in the ecosystem we should support.
Absolutely. Thank you. The committee continues to have serious concerns about the integrity and objectivity of the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine, or NASEM, and its work on attribution science. Despite repeated oversight requests, NASEM has failed to fully comply with the committee's request for information, prompting a follow-up oversight letter. And as we work toward a golden age of science, maintaining public trust in the nation's scientific institutions is as important as ever. Given the transparency concerns, do you believe Congress should reconsider NASEM's exemption from the Federal Advisory Committee Act so that its advisory committees are subject to the same transparency, balance, and conflict of interest standards as other federal advisory bodies? And will you commit to working with the committee in this process?
I very much look forward to working with the committee generally on this topic. I think it's important that any of our institutions that conduct science or work on science policy are transparent and honest with American people, and I look forward to working with you on this particular issue.
Absolutely. The administration recently proposed accountability measures for federally funded grants, and the National Science Foundation's merit review process relies on external reviewers, many of whom are from academia. This chart shows the faculty ideology from 1969 to 2022. If you would observe this, under the previous administration, we saw a significant increase in the politicization of science, big time. Federal grants were used to advance DEI initiatives that violated direct violations of the Civil Rights Act, promote the so-called, quote, environmental justice agenda, and direct taxpayer dollars towards politically aligned organizations. How would the proposed revisions to the uniform guidance help restore accountability to the American people and elected officials instead of deferring to a political ideology or an unelected bureaucracy, as you can see from this chart that has occurred from 1969 to the present?
I think the most important thing that I think about of the era before President Trump was reelected was I truly believe it was a black eye for the larger scientific ecosystem. The fact that so many taxpayer dollars were diverted to projects which clearly did not meet the mark for where we as an ecosystem should be funding, I think made a lot of people question whether or not the government was doing the right thing and whether it was funding projects that actually push science forward. So I commend President Trump for taking a strong stand on this when we first came into office to make sure that this type of funding stopped and we returned to gold standard science, ones where we can actually fund the most important scientific endeavors of the nation today. And we have continued to try to promulgate rules which will allow that to continue into the future.
Absolutely. You can see that from 69 to the present, we should have a middle-of-the-road, probably an average of these personnel, and it's way, way down middle of the road. So let me ask you one final question. For decades, the Congress has routinely authorized science programs at funding levels that far exceed what will ever be appropriated. And although these bills often pursue worthwhile goals, they also create unfunded expectations that can dilute agency focus, complicate long-term planning, and strain limited resources. From the America Competes Act to the CHIPS and Science Act, we've seen this pattern repeated over and over. How does this gap between authorized and appropriated funding affect the long-term health of our science enterprise, and what can Congress do to better align our policy ambitions with fiscal reality?
Yeah, I will say I think obviously these type of budgetary decisions are appropriation decisions are made by Congress. But I will say in the executive branch, having more and definitive clarity around what will be funded and at what time periods, I think will allow for much better planning. As this committee knows very well, there are many initiatives that are multi-year in the making, and the more clarity we can have for those, the better.
Absolutely. My time's expired. So I yield back, and I now recognize Ranking Member Lofgren for 5 minutes to ask her questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we need to get a few things on the record here today. The National Science Foundation has been without a Senate-confirmed director for over a year, but I think we do have evidence that political appointees may be finding a way to interfere despite that fact. Now, I have something I want to put up on the screen. The staff can make that happen. On the screen is a slide that the Science Committee